Talking about one of those.
This goes to like Haji
Okay, so we all reviewed, the board members reviewed the August minutes.
Yep. Yes.
Make a motion.
I motion to approve.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Now, great. Okay. Action items. We're action items?
Action items. TK to reach out to OMS this week.
Yes, that's done.
Okay. TK to reach out to OMS listserv on if any towns have done power washing of streets. Oh,
Yeah,
we have
I
it on
can-
the agenda, right? We can
Yeah,
we can get to it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then organize next meeting. Have us walk around. all
Yeah, I
the
was,
murals.
but then the forecast, and I was like, yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. So maybe move that to the next meeting.
October.
Yes. When is the
That'd be
October
cool,
meeting?
yeah.
Is the October meeting right before my weekend? It is indeed stressing me out. Okay. Fun times. Okay, good. Treasurer's report.
Really no change per se. I don't, of course, don't have August statement because it's, but it's too early in the month to have that.
Thank you.
I think, I didn't write it down, and I usually do if I paid this $84 bill to the bulletin board. I'm like 99% sure that I did. But since I don't have August, luckily our First Federal provides us with copies of all the checks. So I can go back and add when I forget to write down if I wrote the check number on there. But other than that, I don't have any other outstanding bill with the possibility of that one.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't really have the ending. I mean, our July ending bank statement was $14,254.52.
So we have some money.
Yeah, we still have some money.
Okay, good stuff. Okay. Downtown business property inventory idea. I forgot if I talked about this last time. Maybe I didn't. So in 1994 and in 2018, Oregon Main Street did historical inventories of the buildings. It's really interesting to kind of compare the two.
In our town.
In our town, yeah. So there's some properties that don't exist anymore, and there's some properties that don't exist anymore, even in this one, but more on that one. So this is, if anyone wanted to take some with them, I printed out extra copies. If anyone wanted.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. You want to go
I
ahead?
love historical
Yeah,
stuff.
thank
Yeah.
you.
So
Anybody else? Okay.
this
Thank you.
basically,
Since I'm not from here.
yeah, this is it talks about some really interesting history about the town. This is when I first read about that. It was prunes. Prunes was a part of the history.
Yes.
Yeah. I thought.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Lucy brought that up.
Yeah, I didn't realize that because there was prunes, like prune barns at the
Uh-huh.
bottom of the Delphian Hill, and
Okay.
I didn't realize that had
Prune
any.
barns.
There was
Like
multiple
barn
prunes.
for prunes.
Yeah, like
Yeah, for
literally a
drying.
barn was called the prune barn. Remember, John? Like there was a prune
Yes,
barn.
there's a prune bar.
Yes, it doesn't exist anymore, but for drying prunes. So it was obviously a crop thing here, and there used to be prune trees all along and all that.
Wow.
But I didn't realize it was like an area thing. It obviously was. So anyway, talks about how the buildings burnt down and why brick was used, because insurance companies required brick because all the buildings had brick. So anyway, it's very interesting. And then it talks about the recommendations for each of the buildings for what kind of grants, which is also really cool.
Nice.
So anyway, there's that.
Thank you.
And as part of that, I reached out to the chamber with an idea of going in like Sheridan Chamber, on going in on creating a downtown inventory of properties, like including the historical data and also including who owns what business is in there, are they on a lease, is it owned, like all of that information in one spot. And we would be using it for slightly different purposes, like they would have a purpose of being able to, like find the correct contact for each business, which hopefully they can get that. And we would be using it to let them know about potential grants, like, the power washing thing, if we were to do that, that kind of thing, to create more of a group, a downtown, or enough interest,
Make the community a community.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so I gave that idea to John, the president of the chamber, and he's going to talk about it at the next board meeting. So hopefully they have an interest in that, because I think it jointly supports what we would both want to do.
Do you get the chamber email?
Yes.
Can you forward those to me too? I would like to know when chamber meetings are. 'Cause
They
it's
do
Friday.
every Friday,
Every
or
other
almost,
Friday.
is it every other Friday,
I think it's
breakfast?
this
Mhm.
Friday.
I believe it's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow
Yes,
at the
tomorrow.
Bar Gardens.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll make a big note. I'll make a big note.
It's in the bullet.
Forward.
It's always,
But see, they don't email, and I don't know where town so bad.
you just have to go to the post office.
Yeah.
There's stacks and stacks.
Okay, good.
Pharmacy too, if you ever
Like
go
the
to that.
veterinary hospital.
But wait, so this was 2018.
Tell them that
Okay.
you need to be on the
This is
list,
town
This one right here?
Oh,
email list.
It's
2018,
not far, it's
1994.
just,
Yeah.
I never.
Any
drive.
inconvenience, yeah.
Yes, I have a link to this. I don't have a link to this. I have this. This is on our drive.
Okay.
Sweet.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so that's an idea. I think it'll be a great way for us to start reaching out and creating that downtown core of interested businesses. It seems like those are definitely the top. And it's going to probably take both of our groups working together. I mean, maybe even Rotary would be being willing to help. But I think it's, even if just to know, okay, great. So that, that property is owned by these people, but is leased out, blah, blah, blah. And here's our main contact for it. That would be really helpful. And then we'd be able to tag it with information about if that property is historic and if they are able to be qualified for any of the grants. Okay, any questions?
No, that sounds super cool.
Okay.
Yeah, it does.
Cool, yeah, so then this should be really short, but Willamina is joining, or more actively joining, Oregon Main Street. I think they started last year, but I forgot what her role is but she works for the city. And Ashton and I had some back and forth emails with her, and so she's very interested in sitting down with us and talking about how we can collaborate.
What's her name?
I don't remember her name. Ashton, do you remember
I'm
her name?
looking right
Yeah.
now. Willamina.
You mean the manager there?
No,
She works there
Oh.
or in some,
she's very nice. And she's very excited.
Well, if it's the librarian, I know Sarah Frost.
It's not Sarah.
Crystal.
Crystal.
Oh, Crystal, okay, sure.
Hmm.
Yes.
Cool.
So
Who is she? She works where at the city?
City Willamina.
Yeah.
So,
They're getting started on a community visioning project coming up soon, be funded by the Ford family and sponsored by Rural Development Initiative. And wanted to come to our meetings as well. But their goal is to put together a downtown coalition organization of groups of some kind. And
yeah,
interested in,
because we could maybe do like a West Valley grant together or something like that.
Yeah. Do they have a chamber?
They do.
Willamina chamber?
They do have quite an active chamber.
Go.
Yeah. Okay, so there's that. That's really exciting that they're doing that. Grant updates. Last week or the week before? It was the week before. I had a meeting with Joya Goodman from the Yamhill County Economic Development, and also the mayor and the city manager and me. I don't remember anyone else. Yeah, so we all met, and that was something I helped coordinate because I felt like we needed to get some more ideas about how to advertise or get on more connections these buildings, the Heider and the Huntley.
They're both for sale.
They're both for sale, yes. So we had some really great ideas about that. Joya's been really, really, really helpful. I've known Joya for a while, since when she was the Willamina Chamber President. So she's super nice and very helpful. So she's now in the position of being able to direct us to people who might be interested. She had some ideas. There's some potentials, not like anything super solid right now, but there are some potentials, which is great. I think I can't really talk about details because it's their own business on if they're looking at buying. But there's like a whole list of things for me to do on like making sure that these things are done. But it'll help us for the future in knowing, like she talked about some really great grants that are up and coming, that kind of thing. Joya did, yeah. So like Joya works for the city or for Yamhill County, and they distribute grants. They do whatever they can do to help economic development in the county. So, which is great. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I missed the last meeting, but can you refresh what's happening to the existing grant for the
Yeah.
Heider?
So that grant can be transferable to the new owner, but the timeline
Yes.
has to exist.
So when you say timeline, it's open for another year? Is
No,
that
it
what you're talking?
expires in April or May
Oh,
of next year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so basically the project would have,
2025.
yes, the project would have to be complete.
Was that grant used at all?
No,
Thank you.
yeah, so the grant is still fully available. We
Okay.
didn't allow any funds to be dispersed because the timelines were never fully met on, or the mile points.
Is there somebody actively posting the Heider building? You know what I'm asking, or the
MLS or whatever.
Huntley?
Yes, there's an agent that was aggressively promoting it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
both buildings, yeah.
Awesome.
But that was part of the reason why we had this meeting, is to
Uh-huh.
make sure that, like, if Joya might know of anyone that's
Okay.
looking for that kind of building, that kind of property for both of those buildings.
Yeah, you would think like a pub, a brew pub.
Yeah,
or
and she did have some
something.
ideas, so there
Okay,
are
good.
there are some potential ideas brewing.
Well, and maybe if the interest rates drop.
It's also fascinating. Like we can't go into
Mhm.
it a lot, but we talked for probably a full hour about the challenges of coming into the town and using one of the historic buildings, trying to change anything triggers all of these huge, I mean, like, all of these things. We're in the floodplain. What does that exactly mean? Just like it's almost like you have to have an extra.
You have to do it a certain way. There's ways to get around it, but
It's very difficult, and it's like it takes much longer, and you just have to be. It's almost like there's value in the city hiring or the county hiring someone that is well versed in all of this stuff to advise anyone who is looking at developing.
is it even possible?
Yeah,
That's what I'm
yeah.
wondering, if it's financially makes any sense. It might not.
Yeah, exactly. But even if you tear a building down, building because it's in the floodplain and
Right.
because you've got all of that is it just is a different ball game than even I understood. Like it was like, I would say we met for almost 2.5 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, and a lot of it was just like, wow, the amount of knowledge that in that just little group, particularly between not so much me, but between Joya and Heidi, was a lot of just like, wow, this is a lot of information that you have to even begin to try to tackle it. So I can understand why we have empty buildings. This is probably one of the hardest towns in Yamhill County. I mean, like, bar none, like, because of that fact. We think it's fantastic, so right on the river, but we have this extra challenge that just the other cities just don't have. So anyway, it kind of put in perspective, like, why it's a challenge.
Wow.
Not saying that it's not, insurmountable, but it's just an extra challenge. Okay, so there's that. So yes, like I said, I have a whole list. I didn't bring it, but it's like a whole written list of stuff that Joya recommended for it, and I will get working on that too.
Thank you.
Okay, any questions on those? Okay. Before I move on, I just wanted to mention there are two properties that requested information about grants. Two properties that,
Oregon Main Street grants.
yes,
In the
that
downtown area?
yes, they have been in touch with me. I'm not going to say
Sure.
who they are, but they both were in touch with me. And what I am running up against, I brought it up to Sherry of Oregon Main Street, which is how Main Street grants are not just like city gives you money or whatever. You know, they have the additional challenge, like I mentioned before, about the historical element. And their purpose is that they want to have more and more buildings be historic, like be revitalized. They don't want tearing down these beautiful old buildings. They want them revitalized, and they want them doing it. They want it done historically accurate. And the state is willing, because it's also Main Street organization is a national one, is willing to put in money to do it. And that's why these grants are larger grants, because they know it's expensive. But you have to do these historical standards. You have to do it to historic standards. So I was like,
Modern standards, historical styles.
yes, exactly. Or like, you know, the facade, the diamonds in the rough, which is one of the grants that was being looked at for the Huntley previously. And then for the future, we've promoted, like the city's helped to promote the fact that there is a potential grant there. We could help apply for it. The diamonds in the rough. And that is when you have a historical building, which it even says I checked, that one was the recommended grant for it, is if you have a historical building, but the facade has been significantly changed from the original. And so they want you to do the work to bring it back to more historically accurate. So you couldn't take that money and go make it look all modern-y. That's not the idea.
Would Benny Huey's be an
Yes.
example of that? Because there's no way that's the original.
No, it's not. In fact, I've seen it, and it's really, really cute.
Really?
Like it was, yeah, it was really cute. And for that one, that was the one that we found out they would have to be willing to take all the paint off, because the original is bare brick, just like the Heider.
But luckily, that's lead-free paint from what it said in the
Yes.
bulletin board, so it wouldn't be.
Yes, but
Maybe
the deal
BT,
is
you know, kind of-
that a lot of small town businesses aren't going to know the historical standards, and they also aren't necessarily going to have the cash to be able to, because all of these grants you have to match funding. $200,000, you have to match funding. I mean, if you're going to buy a building like that, you're going to have to have that. But even the $20,000 diamonds in the rough grant, none of these businesses downtown really have that ready.
Can it be
cash.
labor?
It can be in kind, I
Some kind
believe.
of in-kind.
Yeah. But
Still expensive.
it's still expensive, and it comes with hoops to jump through. I brought this so I could just read it to you guys. It can be part of my drama. So I was asking, how do we do this with small towns? Because I know that there are other small towns that have done this. This must have come. How do you do this? How do you do this when these guys, one, they don't have the super funding for it, and then two, how do you get them to understand these kind of things? Like I sent these to people that were inquiring the information, and I just think it's just too much. It's too much. So too much on money and too much on understanding that the details, what's required. So I asked about that, and she said, I think this is where an active Main Street organization can play a key role, which would be us. The best place to start is to form a design committee of local folks who are interested in encouraging building improvement projects. The role of the design committee is to educate themselves and property owners on good design. Along those lines, we prepared a lot of online resources to help educate the design committee. And when you get one formed, if you go to our website or mainstreet.org and click on the orange portal button, you will go to the website page with recorded webinars. So she's talking about, like, there are ways that we can get ourselves educated so that we can educate the owners better, which I think is great. And I honestly think I would love to have Susan from Sea Reach, someone from the museum, someone from the city, and someone from us be part of that design committee. but I'm gonna have to get buy-in from all of those, and maybe someone from the chamber, probably someone from the chamber, maybe someone from Rotary too. But it's gonna take some work to get us enough trained on it, and it's taken a lot for me to just get to the point that I'm not totally overwhelmed when I'm trying to interact with them about, when I was trying to interact with them about the Heider. Also, I have been, this is one of the things that Joy has been helping me with, is connecting me up with other cities who have done this, and some of them have like an expert on hire or a downtown coordinator or that kind of thing. Again, we have some really unique challenges in Sheridan. But I was thinking, Willamina, while they won't run into the exact same thing, they will run into this, I think, in terms of the education point for those smaller businesses. So I wonder,
Floodplain too, right?
huh?
Their main street's in the floodplain
No.
too, isn't it?
Don't believe so. No.
Because the river.
And
goes that
our
way.
floodplain thing is also different than it's drainage in part, not just the river too. Which is
I
weird.
think-
Yeah,
think-
Willamina has part of it, but not like Sheridan. Almost the vast majority of it is.
The river,
Yeah.
once you get down there by the pond, the river goes like that kind of, I
Yeah.
think so, it kind of goes
Well,
away.
you go
Yes.
over it right
No,
after.
well, that's the creek. That's
Yeah.
not.
That's not the river.
No,
Got it.
that's
I-
Willamina Creek. That's why it's
I
Willamina
think-
Creek Road.
I think we also really need to concentrate on a branding from this city, and we
I
need
will
to-
talk about that
And
too.
we need to concentrate on getting business here.
Yeah.
Because if we get business here, then all these things, it's
But the
almost-
problem is,
What
to
business,
attract
yeah.
business is, it's like a
It's a
double-edged
catch-22.
sword.
It's
a catch-22,
It's
exactly,
definitely,
yeah.
so what I'm hoping is that Willamina gets more interested in Main Street. We have that meeting with Crystal, and she's like, hey, maybe we could apply for an education grant or hire someone that knows about this stuff, and they could do once a year round of like helping to grant write for these kind of things. And I also am like, we don't have to just have it be Oregon Main Street. That is just like one of the things that we started doing because it was a great idea at the time. But the more and more I look at it, it's a challenge on top of a challenge. But they have the
Always
bigger,
strings attached to money, but
yeah. But
Yes.
these, but like for like the Yamhill County Economic Development Grants, many less strings, many less
Yeah.
strings. Those are not, they're not bigger grants though. They're smaller, like 5,000, 10,000. I think they might have a couple 20,000, but that's like for hiring like more. But there are other grants, and you just have the. I think we all like the idea of Oregon Main Street because this is a historical town. There was a lot of buy-in on the concept of like having some kind of historical accuracy downtown. So I don't think we want to give up on that idea entirely, of keeping down to some kind of standard, but maybe we can find a way to play ball.
With those other loans that you talked about, or those other sources, do you have to have that historical?
No, not that I'm aware of. I mean, there are
But they're
some,
not doing them.
but they're not the big chunky ones. They're not the super big ones. Not that I'm aware of. But maybe that's not what we need. Maybe what we need is,
The small, just keep going for lots of smaller
yeah,
grants and just kind of chip away at some
Yeah.
projects over time.
yeah,
And I
With
think
smaller
that would be
grants.
that building right over there, you know?
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's already started.
Well, that one would be, what we need is an
Just-
investor that has a lot of money, that is excited and understands building, and they don't have to take the grant. In fact, as time goes on, it's less and less likely, which
Yeah,
is
it's
really sad.
It's too bad the Ford Foundation isn't one of those company or organizations that is willing to kind of look into these types of buildings and give support, either technical experts or something like that.
Yeah, sure. That's what I really think is ultimately, we need a economic, like focused economic development person that is their only job
should
is to
apply
find
a
out
grant for
grants.
Just that.
yeah, we should
Yeah.
apply for a grant so we
For
can get some of the
$20,000.
help.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Heidi did talk about that. Heidi did talk
Exactly.
about that Sheridan just has its own very particular challenges, and if we understood it better and we could present it better, we might be able to attract more
Yamhill
businesses.
County
Like,
Cares, we
but-
should apply it there too, because I know that you can apply for a grant to just, for the feasibility, and that would be to pay a contractor, an architect. And like, okay, let's say if we wanted to build a second story on this building, and you'd say, okay, I need $15,000 or 20,000, maybe it's 25,000, you know, and you would get an architect and they would say, yeah, you're crazy, or this is what you would have to do, and that kind of thing. And maybe the same thing could be done for, you know,
The Heider building? Oh.
or any of these buildings.
Yeah.
Maybe we concentrate, is that the Heider?
Yes.
We concentrate on that one, and then it becomes a little more feasible to go for a bigger loan maybe, or we know, then we know that's not the way to go.
Or do we attack the Heider building, the one on the corner over
That's-
here?
Huntley?
Huntley, I'm sorry,
Okay.
the Huntley building, because that one is closer to fruition,
That's probably, you're probably right.
you know,
I
just
see
to
what you're
focus on getting that one up and running,
You're such a flip-flopper.
Yeah, flip-flop.
you know,
I should
to
probably
focus
flip-flop.
on, the Huntley,
I think your ideas, I agree with your ideas,
because,
because.
again, that one, if we could get a feasibility study done on that one,
Oh.
and turn that into
I second the motion.
to a going concern,
14,000, that'll cover it.
you know.
The agent that's selling that property included all of our information, included a whole bunch of information that has been gathered in terms of what is needed on that. So
Right.
he did a lot of the due diligence on
And did he is he the same one that's doing this one? On this?
Yeah,
I
it is.
believe so, yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
saying, if we know that there's a grant out there, again, that can be something that the
Yeah.
broker should know about, that we are working towards getting a grant for feasibility.
And also
find out how
to,
much they're selling.
also
To
to,
help a potential
on that
buyer.
block, you know, we have the pharmacy, which looks pretty good.
Right,
The Green Frog is spruced up.
They're asking.
We have the gas station that's spruced up. We
Right.
have
Mary Ann's.
Mary Ann's building
Right.
that's spruced up, so we
Right,
at
so
least
that's-
have, you know, something, because
On
I
the corner,
think
the four corners,
what's nice is when you do fundraising, you have to get some results.
right,
Yeah.
People don't go for the thermometer, you know, okay, we
Right.
got 5 billion more to go or something like that.
right.
Yeah.
So I like your idea.
I wonder if there's someone in town who is retired or already in construction, or someone who is like willing to be that technical assistant or consultant or whatever, you know?
I
That'd be
think,
great.
well, I think kind of the problem you ran into, the same thing with the lights. No one wanted, everybody's like,
Well,
but no one was like, if we had money,
Right.
then we would, this guy doesn't care whether the buildings get sold or fixed or anything. He's just getting paid, or she's just getting paid to say,
Right,
this is what, if you want this is what you gotta do. If you want this, is that what you gotta do. And they would, if it was the right kind of consultant, then they would know, they could set out like a battle plan or the steps to do it, so they would know which,
there is,
Ideally, we want someone who has a lot of money and can do all of that themselves, and then can just be like, great, fix it all, do everything that's needed.
well, there is, I'm drawing a blank on the builder's name. His kids were my kids' age. He does a lawn building here in Sheridan.
talking about the guy in Mac, the big contractor in Mac.
No, I don't think he's a big contractor. I know, they have a lot of children, a lot of them are adopted.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about Dan, but I don't think Dan, who works with Eric Wagner,
Yes, the Wagners,
I don't,
yeah.
I mean, not that he's not capable, I don't,
No,
I
but I
just-
mean, not to, we would, I mean, to pay him for his services. I mean, he is a contractor.
But does he know about historic issues?
Well, if we're talking about the Huntley building that's already, been gutted and whatnot.
Yeah, that would just be
is that all,
facade.
is that all up
The
to
facade.
just
Right, right.
earthquake and all that's been done?
Yes.
Yeah, that was a
Okay,
big
so
piece
that
of
would
the
be
way.
an easier one to do,
That
maybe?
would be the easier one to do, and he's a contractor, he's licensed,
Are
he
you
knows.
flip-flopping?
No, I'm not.
No, we're going back to Huntley. And again, I mean, he certainly knows construction, he would be a good resource person that could go in and evaluate.
And commercial. like he
Right,
does
and
commercial, he does
and
commercial, yeah.
evaluate what needs to be done to get the Huntley building.
When we were doing
You know,
some
again.
stuff for the food bank about like, okay, can we build a second story? Can we tear the whole building down? I checked in to some structural engineers in Salem,
Mhm.
that's the kind of person I'm thinking of, that could really,
Yeah.
would know all the ins and outs, knows all the rules, probably deals with the county and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, would know about the flood
I can
plains.
ask Joya that specifically.
Yeah,
about that.
so then,
Can you make a note?
and then I know YCCO,
What am I-
well, you can apply,
Try to find
you
the
can
next
get
word.
grants from them for that. Because
Yeah.
Shanna, who we were working with, she said, yeah, put in a grant for $15,000.
What's the word YCC with that?
Yamhill County Cares. Their
Okay.
offices are on 3rd Street, right across from the railroad, on the other side of the railroad tracks where the old, but
Yeah.
I know that can be
Okay.
done because I talked to her about it. And she said,
Okay.
yeah, if you want to write a grant for 15,000 to get someone out here to say yes,
Yeah,
you can build a second story, we should tear it all down, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's just a thought, and if
Okay.
we could get
The Huntley
Huntley, if we
building,
could get that building, then it
Supposedly-
also might show to a buyer that it can be done too.
yeah.
Right, that's my thought, is,
And have the whole like plan, like this is all you need to do. this is what it
Exactly.
costs.
right,
And then,
you know.
then that
Yeah, there,
might take,
right.
someone buying a building like that, I'd be really nervous personally, you know?
Yeah, and.
Unless you had a bunch of money to, excuse the expression, throw away, or,
Right.
you know.
yeah.
Invest in.
Invest.
We'll call it.
Right, invest, but again, if we, as an organization can say, you know,
Yeah.
we're gonna write a grant for this building, for structure, you know,
Yeah.
just to help
Whatever.
with design and whatnot, and, you know,
I
and
would check
again,
with her and see what she
anything to
says.
make that building more attractive as an investment,
Yeah, definitely.
because again, it's farther along certainly than this one.
And then
Yeah.
that side of the neighborhood would be pretty
Mhm.
good. I
Yeah,
mean,
Yeah,
Then
the guy that
Main
owns the
Street,
next building
Have
is,
dinner.
he's one of the one I was talking to.
he has a bunch of property around here, I think, right?
I don't remember exactly.
Because he kind of fixed that building up, he put
No,
an awning on it, and
oh,
Ben
Oh,
Huey's,
Dick Pay?
Dick Payne, yeah.
Yeah,
owns
he
that
doesn't own
building.
the one that's right next to it.
No,
But he owns the,
One that's next to that.
okay,
right,
Yeah.
right, he owns the one.
The little
with
garage thingy that's now a thrift store is owned by a different person, and that was
Oh,
one of the
okay.
people that
Yeah.
was, I was in touch with.
And Dick just owns the tan building where the hairdresser, the bulletin board.
Yeah, with the, it
bookstore.
does have a
Yeah.
nice awning thingy,
Yeah,
or whatever
but
it's called.
That only took him.
so I didn't mean to get all carried away.
Yeah.
No,
how many
it's
years
good,
to
it's good.
put that up, but
Okay, let's jump into the fall cleanup date. Last year, I think it was sometime between the two dates that I put, because it was last year.
Was it November 18th?
It was, that sounds like good in between those two dates, so yep, that sounds about right. So we could either do the Saturday the 16th or Saturday the 23rd. Is there any,
16?
16th is
Have
better.
we always done Saturdays?
Yeah.
yes,
Yes.
because the dump is open on Saturdays.
And if the 23rd would be closer to Thanksgiving, so I don't
Yeah.
think that's such a good idea.
yeah, the thing. that-
23rd is the weekend before
Is
Thanksgiving.
the weekend before Thanksgiving. Okay, so the 16th.
Yes.
So, okay, so I'm going to check.
And Rotary, by the way, has a movie that night, two movies, The Goonies
On
and
the
Black.
16th.
Yeah, Back to the Future, and that'll be up at the Faulkner chapter.
Okay, so maybe when they have, can you ask if they can do the thingy again with the
Yes.
pizzas?
Yeah,
And because then they could promote,
So,
they can promote. the movie.
pizza and water?
Pizza and water, yeah.
And
Okay.
hot chocolate on the November one.
Ye-
Uh,
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah, we
right.
do that, yeah.
Hot
Pizza,
Okay.
hot
Hot
chocolate.
chocolate,
Yeah.
Okay, hot
coffee, something.
cocoa and,
Okay.
Coffee
Yeah,
too?
that was-
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the November
Okay.
one's always.
Okay.
I'll
really
check
hot
with the
joints.
school district
so
about that.
again, November 16th, we're shooting for.
Yeah, if you just let me know if
Sure.
that's good, I'll check with the school district and then we'll,
Okay.
and
I'll
then
let you know
get it set up
after-
with Solve.
Is that the same time too, 10 to noon? 9
10 to noon, I think we're set on that. We're all happy that, I think that's
Yeah.
when we get the most people anyway.
Yeah.
They
2
burn out,
hours.
yeah, they burn out after an hour.
Do you want me to check on that? Do you want me to ask Dory? Or do you want to do it? I mean, I don't care.
I have basically a form that I
Okay,
fill out with
that's
them,
great.
yeah, I have to like do all of that stuff and,
It's probably not even Dory, it's Sean or whatever his name is.
yeah, I have all of that, so
Okay, good.
yeah, that's good, but thanks. Okay, good, so I'll get going on that. Okay, the power washing idea, I asked,
There was something there was a word there I didn't quite understand
what,
on that, when you sent it back to me.
oh, okay,
So,
so the,
that's something I didn't get. And I didn't look at- I
So
didn't look at it either.
the power washing idea, I posted up on the email forum, basically where all of the Oregon Main Street managers about if anyone had done that before. One of them was talking about like making sure you get a good liability waiver.
Right, because
And
if you damage the building.
Yeah, if you damage that or like the light post or whatever.
Right.
And then someone came in with this other idea, which is in the city of Staten, our Main Street organization, which is called Revitalize Downtown Staten, made a pressure washer, he put in parentheses, mine, and a surface cleaner attachment, Julie's, board member, available for merchants to clean their sidewalk, awning, and facade on a set date. This removed liability for us or an outside vendor for potential damages. It worked out well, and even though we didn't have everyone participate, it made a big difference. And I was like, that's a great idea.
So the liability went to the guy that made
The person that's actually running the.
Yeah,
Yes.
liability is
Yeah.
to the property owner on their sidewalk.
Right, they're doing it
oh,
themselves.
so
It's
They
just like
provided
basically,
the
yeah,
tool equipment.
yeah.
So
That's
what, I have a
interesting,
power
because
washer.
wouldn't there still be liability to the person who provided the equipment?
No,
To me,
because
it's kind of like a rent-a-car, except this is free.
Yeah, well, when you rent equipment, there's, you
still sign
you
stuff.
still.
Sign
insure.
But
Well,
mostly
there
you
could
sign
be a
checks for yourself.
disclaimer
Right.
if we wanna.
Yeah, like they assume,
I
they
mean,
would
they
assume. all
assume
the
We
full
still have the problem though,
liability,
there's
yeah.
a bunch of empty.
Yes.
Because they can
property
hit
that you own,
themselves with
property
the.
owners, like-
I mean, yeah,
We
is
wouldn't
there
be
gonna
get
able
that
to do that,
sign?
we wouldn't be able to do that anyway though, unless we got a hold of them and got their permission, because it's their sidewalk, it's not the
Yeah.
city
Right.
sidewalk.
It is not the city sidewalk.
No,
It's
Yeah,
not the
this-
city
yeah,
sidewalk.
I thought it was the city's, but Heidi told me it's
Really?
not, but.
It's the same with the
Homeowner.
homeowners,
Homeowners.
it's the
All the way
responsibility
to the
of,
curb.
yeah.
All the way to the gutter.
Well, so maybe that's not a bad idea.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, either
Yeah.
either
It's
one.
tough,
I feel like it's a
nobody's-
combo.
Yeah, there's a bunch of empty
And,
places.
and there's also, I mean, you have to get an owner who's wants to do it. Someone will just say, yeah, would you do it? Anyway,
and
but
we'd be like, no.
no, I mean, well.
Maybe one of the first things that we can do when we get all the contact information for all the downtown owners or whatever is say, hey, we're looking at this opportunity. Would you be interested if we made one available for your use, and maybe the city
I mean,
would provide water or
I have,
something?
but, okay, wait, I have one question.
This-
I mean, the scouts do stuff like this sometimes. Right? What?
not really. They don't normally help private institutions. If that makes sense. Normally it's like a public or a nonprofit or something that's like, right? If they're gonna support something, it's like community oriented, they help the park, they help the city,
Yeah,
they help
schools.
nonprofits.
Heidi said
I'm
also.
more
told me
wondering
that
on the liability side. Like
maybe
how-
that prisoners might do with the city, but I thought it was gonna be in the fall, and then she said in the spring,
Do
power washing.
Because think
of
about
city
the,
property, not
yeah,
not the
Memorial
sidewalk.
Park, what,
And I
way.
thought she was, I was talking to her about the sidewalk out here, but
Yeah,
might have to clarify that.
yeah, I
Yeah.
would think so, because,
Anyway, I
City
think
doesn't have
that's,
like eminent domain on the sidewalk. It's a sidewalk. How does the city not have permission to?
I mean, I think they have to follow rules, but I mean, and maybe they could.
I don't, yeah, that doesn't make sense. Like,
No, the
if
sidewalk.
somebody
There's
just puts
sidewalks on
trash
property.
on their sidewalk, like,
They have to
Or-
follow rules for it. I think it's in terms of the maintenance, it's supposed to be the maintenance is, the property owners are responsible for the maintenance.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess I just thought it would be something that would be, it would look a lot better.
Yeah,
It would be
oh, yeah.
instant, and it
I-
would show we're
Yeah.
I
trying
totally
to do
agree.
something, but
I totally
know
agree.
there's legalities,
I
and
just,
there's
it's,
water is.
have we talked to Heidi about it?
yes.
What'd
I
she say? Huh?
You testing right now?
No, finish.
I can, do you want to reach out to her again and
Sure.
just clarify? Yeah, so he'll clarify that
Yeah.
point.
I don't know. I think we should check it again.
Okay.
and just see.
Okay, cool.
just
I
doesn't
will
make
just, so one other add to that is, I mean, obviously this would be paid, or probably paid, but there are power washing companies, and they don't just power wash, like there's soap and stuff that you can just spray on things, and it's not the power pressure washing but just getting the soap on that helps to clean the surface without removing anything. And so like that is also an option if we're like,
Great.
if we can do like
And
some
they
sort of
would have
community
the
thing.
liability
They would have
insurance too.
liability.
They would have the
There would be a
insurance.
grant for that.
But again, that would be a grant or something that we could
Yeah.
work towards.
I mean, my thought would be like, obviously, we don't have ridiculous amount of money, but we also don't spend a lot. So like, it's okay to spend some money, people will give more money if we're doing projects. And like, if that's the way to do it, we can just like not.
We would probably have to get every
If we-
property signed
They
off.
probably have to sign
We
off,
did-
or we could check with Heidi.
If
and
we
see
did a
if-
certain section, and then that would be like.
Ideally, we would do the whole thing all at once.
Does anyone know why this place has
Caution
the
tape
caution
on it?
tape on it?
No.
But
Probably they
added some nice little Halloween element.
I haven't had a chance to talk to Marguerite, but I have seen people sleeping there. So I've deduced that maybe it's to prevent people from crossing that line. That's just an assumption of mine.
Okay.
I don't see anything like damaging the building. Like I don't see any broken glass when I do photography. I don't see anything different about it. So
Okay. Okay, cool. So John, you'll check with Heidi about that.
For sure.
Okay.
Since it's not-
So public art discussion. I just wanted to briefly talk about the city's subcommittee on public art. Is that what
Yeah,
it's called?
it is, what do you call it? Public art focus group or something, but
Yeah.
right now they're focusing just on.
They're focusing on creating or doing potentially a contest to create a new logo because I asked like the obnoxious questions like, why are we doing this? And it's because it's been like 40 years, it's dated.
For the city of Sheridan.
For the city of Sheridan, the tagline doesn't fit anymore and the logo doesn't, it's not like the best in terms of promoting the town, and that this would be a nice thing that would help, it would be, the idea would be open to anyone, including like school children, to be able to submit with they haven't figured out all the details yet, but like that, and it would be kind of a fun way to create some energy about rebranding, and it would start with like the logo. This isn't necessarily like a full rebranding of the town because that's going to be a bigger thing, but this would be a nice to go in that direction. So that were those things Kale had put out.
Yes, as
Okay.
examples of other logos that cities had, for theirs and stuff. That he was just showing the examples, and then the discussion got on to how many colors and my
Right,
goodness,
you
more
gotta have-
expensive,
It's
more
gotta be
colors.
guidelines.
Yeah, so
that's
that's
it.
what I think the next
Yeah.
meeting
Sure.
is to talk about, like the guidelines and whatnot.
Which
I always,
meeting?
huh?
Which meeting?
So whatever it's called. art-
Yeah, a public art
Yeah,
focus group.
Actually, you would like it, yeah.
Yeah.
I can, are you included on that email?
I don't think so.
Okay.
You want to see
Um,
that, man.
Dude, I'm a designer.
Uh,
Although I will say, like of all the logos that are 40 years old, Sheridan's looks pretty great.
mhm.
Like it's not a bad logo.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of really good elements to it.
I agree.
So when I look at these, there are some historical things. Like for example, say Seaside, you have the beach, you have this lamp right here. For McMinnville, you have grapes. I mean, you have some grapevines right here. So you have some things that are distinct about that city. Obviously, Sheridan's Bridge is like the most distinctive thing about it. Now, if we add more things to it, like for example, like some people think Bigfoot or something like lumber or a train or something like that, something that, or at least something modern to help kind of a facelift.
Yeah.
I
I
don't,
think that's the
I
idea.
don't-
It's not like maybe a
not
major
doing
change.
away with it. Yeah. Because I don't like the idea of doing away with it. But hey,
And the river.
it's been
I
40
think, is
years.
really important.
Yeah, so I think the next step is to come up with those guidelines. Ashton, if you want to just email me that you would like to get the email on
Yeah.
that, I'll just ask Yvonne to do that.
Add me, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was a hour or so conversation, which was interesting. It's very hard to participate when you're on Zoom, but I
Yeah,
couldn't.
Felt
come
bad
down.
for you. It's like, you had your hand up, we couldn't think of this.
Yeah.
Yvonne kept trying to keep up.
Yeah, she was very good. Yeah. Anyway, so there's that, and then there's our project. So I think kind of the point is they're not tackling murals just yet. They're just looking into the logo for now, and they're not tackling the whole concept of like the rebranding, visioning right now. I think it's just starting with the logo.
Great.
So talking about the next design project. Yeah, we want to talk about the next design project, which is possibly the directional sign, or
Oh, the one
possibly,
down there.
yeah, a mural. I kind of stopped researching that one because I got really busy, but I think we can, I was hoping Lucy could be here so we could talk with her, but I can talk with her at another point and find out if she had any other
I mean,
ideas.
in our last meeting, we did talk with, I forget what her name was.
Shannon Ray.
Right? You know, she had some interesting, I thought good comments on sourcing murals. I know we wanted to like do local and and all that, but it's, as you know, a ton of work and really hard to like coordinate. And she sent us, I forget what the site was, but it's in the notes.
Yeah.
You know, I was browsing around there. There's plenty of requests for muralists and people submit from a bunch of different areas. And it seems like a really nice way to potentially source, you know, source artists instead of us doing the legwork. The legwork is a one-pager proposal,
Right.
and you know, like that's a lot different than
Right.
Yeah.
calls and and research and finding people and who's local and you know all of that. Anyway, there's a site that she
Oh,
referred to,
okay.
and yeah, I looked at some. You know, they have different proposals and they're kind of around the country in different spots. There's some near here, there's some, they're kind of all over the place. So, what the art,
Art Alley is,
Art
no,
yeah,
Alley?
no.
Oh,
That's the new
I-
thing in McMinnville.
yeah,
Oh.
I
Here.
totally forgot that's tomorrow. Does anyone want to go and take photos and get us artist names? Because these are like,
I took some photos already.
oh, great.
Yeah, we were there, or
Oh,
whatever
It
it was.
is called,
Yes,
Cafe, which
cafe,
which stands for Call for Entry.
okay,
It's callforentry.org.
.org.
It's cafe.org.
No, it's
Oh.
Cafe, C lowercase a F E is like their acronym,
Okay.
Cafe. But so when you look for like cafe art mural proposals or something
Uh-huh.
online, like you'll see Call for Entry. That is
Okay,
the right
call
one.
for
Entry.org.
entry, got it.
And they, you know,
Okay.
Oh, we don't need to do that. Look, they have a whole page with all the artists.
yeah.
That's convenient.
There you go.
Anyway, I think that might be an
Another
option
resource.
for us.
Yeah.
That nice one that Natalie did.
Wow, that's pretty.
Yeah, might be a good good resource.
Okay, cool. So I think the target should be that we really get an active plan for the next mural or two and the next public art. But I feel like it's like almost like a subcommittee that could be some from this group, some from the public art group, some from Rotary or whatever. I don't know, something like that to bring a lot of energy, because like as Ann knows, it takes a lot of work. And then we would also have buy-in on like what we're doing too, so it's not just us as well. Thoughts?
I think I like that idea. I think the mural on the pharmacy should be the next one that's fixed up.
That is a
Just because of-
huge project.
Yeah, and here's why. Because I'm kind of thinking now, this part of town, this this way is gonna be a lot of work. Where it's
Right.
already started, you know, it's already started up here.
Did a box fall in your car?
It might have, except I'm not in the garage.
I'm thinking, again, if we fix that up, it might help sell the Huntley building. And if we can get the
Directional sign.
directional signs there, we're concentrating in one area and people can see that we are doing things. And
Right.
maybe we just power wash up there or something, you
Right.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
We
Right.
power wash,
all along there, yeah.
Just Main Street. on Main
So,
Street.
yeah, I didn't hear the whole idea for fixing up that mural. It sounded really complex
Yeah, it is.
with like multiple layers of stuff.
Yes.
But that was, and if I'm not mistaken, the goal with that is to restore that instead of replace it. Is that correct?
Restore it
right?
with
and
also
keeps
some
the historical.
yeah, it keeps the historical thing, but brings some more modern elements like the panels to it.
So it would be a panel instead
But it
of.
wouldn't
Part
be
of
a
it
full
would
panel,
be
it
a
would be a
panel.
partial panel.
Yes.
Right. She
Well, that's
called
what
it
she
a
was talking-
hybrid.
Yeah,
Hybrids.
hybrid, yeah.
That's what she was talking about for
Yes.
the US Bank building.
And
Yeah.
Drugstore. Yeah.
Yeah, she had made parts of it, but she's, yeah.
So we would
And they
need
look
a
good.
buy-in from another artist who could physically do that work and her. I wonder if we would be
Wait, what?
paying twice, right?
She would do it? No, she didn't say
She
she
would
would.
have
say
to direct
We could
it.
probably get an art grant or something.
I don't know.
We could get an art grant or something, but then we need to find the muralist that we want to go with
Yeah.
to get a price.
Honestly, my biggest concern is finding someone that is willing to
Work for Shannon.
Yes.
work with Shannon, like do her
Her
stuff.
direction. Yeah.
Usually artists like to do their own stuff,
Right.
so.
Right.
um,
And, yeah, I mean.
Do we have-
nobody's supposed to-
And we also haven't even had the conversation with the owner.
that was what I was gonna say,
But
do we have
I-
contact with the owner?
I have had contact with the owner via the manager before.
Yeah, I know Susie too. You're
The
talking about
manager?
Susie. Susie's the manager, yeah.
Yeah, but if you work right now, you wanna
I'll
just
talk
talk to her and
to
just
her,
say,
yeah,
hey,
sure.
we're looking.
She can talk to Bob. I think.
Yeah.
Bob's the owner,
Yeah, oh, I have his number too. Bob and Rita, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
he's
Yeah.
the farms. I don't know about Rita, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Yeah, just to see, because I know that we had a conversation maybe 3 or 4 years ago
Right.
about that. What,
Because
what,
ultimately it is their decision, right? It's
yeah,
their
it could
building.
be like,
Yeah.
we want to build, as, you know, we wanted to paint the history of pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
Or like, they want something that's more modern. So,
Okay.
yeah, I definitely think it needs to
I'll
start with
talk
that
to Susie.
conversation,
and
yeah.
have her Talk to Bob.
Yeah. But I agree, that would be a really cool spot, and we do have some money, probably not that amount, they're gonna have to
Yeah.
put some money into it,
If-
but.
And then, the building next to Huntley, who owns that? Because maybe if we're gonna do that strip right there, we need that person or we need to help that person
Yeah,
fix up the front of their building.
so I have been in touch with them, and,
It's just- With a 25,000, that's a smaller section, maybe 25,000 would do it.
yes.
If we could get there, to get the grant.
Yes,
Then again, we're showing continuity and
Right.
yes.
we could do the power washing and I have to get out there and power wash
But
myself.
the grant in terms of the historical stuff was,
You and me, the Boy Scouts on the
I know
weekend.
you're talking about.
I can reach out to them again, but I think I lost them when I started getting into the historical stuff.
Historical restoration and
Yes.
research.
I mean, I know it's not, I don't remember what it looks like exactly. Is it really?
Oh my
all-
gosh, the historical photos of it are so cute. It
So
was-
is that another one where we need to scrape all the paint off and it's covered up? in
It
brick,
would,
or-
the facade would need to be like a lot, it would need to be restored, so in order to get the diamonds and rough grant, they would have to do stuff to
Chump
restore it.
change.
Wow.
Yeah, they need the roof and a few other things done on that.
I
So,
see. And is the person that's in there, is that the owner or
No.
they're just a tenant?
No, just a tenant, and the owners are local.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can reach out again, but that's part of the reason why I was running into
No, I understand.
was that, and I think both of them, I think they thought it was like, oh, so we get like $20,000, and I'm like, not exactly. And then it kind of didn't really go anywhere after that point. And I don't know if that was just because of the historical stuff just gets overwhelming, or if just financially they weren't looking at that much. But yeah,
And I mean, if we can, then that's where it takes someone who knows enough, right? Like, I don't know how to get someone who can help them, right? Like,
that's what it's like. That
Yeah.
the Oregon Main Street group is basically a group that is that is willing to do that research, and usually some of the larger towns, the towns that have tourism as part of it, like Carlton, they will hire someone that is their job,
Right.
to do that.
Totally.
I mean, I think
Obviously,
they
it's
have,
not a full-time job here,
no.
but it is definitely would be a really,
But that's what I was thinking with, maybe we could collaborate with Willamina and do a grant for
Yeah.
a person that can help with that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So anyway, that's part of the reason why I was excited they're getting involved in Main Street, because I'm like, they're gonna run into the same thing we're running into.
yeah, and then we can hit the wall together.
Yay! Okay,
No city council update?
Update to the council. Okay.
Sorry.
No. I have not been keeping track. I don't think I've done anything. Anything you know about?
No, nothing jogs my memory. I'm sorry about that.
I've been hearing like that the West Side Park or South Side Park,
Right.
that there's a lot of really cool stuff happening.
Right. The walking path is paved.
Mhm.
Oh, nice.
So, and stuff, and they're just waiting. Everything's kind of that they wanted, paved is paved.
Good.
They just have to let it
Mhm.
settle
Oh.
and stuff, and that's why it's closed.
Okay,
But I mean, the bathroom is brand new and stuff like that, so,
that's really cool.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great. And then there's like a gazebo thingy there
Yes,
for parties that you can
mhm.
rent and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And is the disc golf in yet?
Wait, where?
You know, I,
South
South
side.
Side
Park.
yeah, South Side Park,
That way.
I believe they have the baskets, but I don't know that all of them have been installed.
Okay, maybe they're waiting
So,
until like
yeah.
the last minute. Okay.
So they are working on it over there.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
and,
yeah,
and
that's-
again, I think they hope to have it open again for people to just use.
And I think a
In
big
a-
chunk
in
of
a
that
few-
was grants, right? That was grants.
Right,
that Heider
but
got.
Heidi did say they got a year's extension on that, which is really good,
Great.
because we still, want to work with, is it the National Forest? To plant
Tree
trees.
City,
Yeah,
Tree City,
we'll
yeah.
plant trees over
Oh,
there and
that will
stuff.
be really great.
So,
That's
Because right
like
now
the
it's just
biggest-
open, right?
Yeah, there's
yeah, but
very
they
little trees.
need to, and also work with the city
There's a
because
pond,
of
right?
the
Yeah.
emerald,
Fish.
what's
It'd be
the
great if we
emerald
could plant some
emerald
trees that block the
bug or whatever
cemetery and the
that's
prison.
eating all
Yeah.
the ash trees.
Hmm.
So they have to, basically, the city's gonna get rid of all the ash trees because they're infected. And
Oh.
so they gotta go.
Firewood's
All of them are infected?
A good chunk of them
Oh.
that are city owned, yes.
Super
So-
fun.
So they're gonna swap.
Stupid beetle.
You know, stupid beetle, thank you.
Hello.
Bye.
I'm just stopping by to say hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You
You
too.
too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Do we know that? Do we know that?
No,
Hey,
I'm
that's
glad
cool.
to say hi.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Okay. Great. That's a good update. I like that. I had just a thought and it went away.
Are we at the open comment period?
We are.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. From the, let's see, the Friends of the City Park group, which I
Yeah.
attended their meeting. And by the way, if anybody's interested in joining them, there's only like 5 members and they need more. Paul and Vivian are leaving.
We all need more.
Yeah, they're going to California, back to California.
We need to do like a broad recruit, volunteer recruit.
Yeah.
Next Thursday.
They're meeting, oh, come on. I hate it when my phone, it's me. It's a K thing. Come on. I just want my calendar. I want my calendar. There we go. Okay, their next meeting, if anybody wants to go, is September 16th. It's a Monday at 2 p.m. at their Paul and Vivian's house. And if you want to go, just text me and I'll give you their address. But anyway, what they're asking is, because the Friends of the City Park are, they're of course a 501c, right? But they're helping with the skate park
Okay.
renovation, trying to get, and they would like to know if the Sheridan Revitalization Group would help.
For the skate park.
Yes, get it redone. Again, trying to get backing and money and everything like that, because we got a quote, one quote, the city got one quote and it's like $10,000, no, $100,000.
I was gonna say
Oh,
10 grand.
no, no,
That's
sorry.
great.
No, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
$100,000.
To redo the skate park.
That's exactly right, and,
And if I'm not mistaken, I did
yes.
speak to only one, but he was a skateboarder, and he was skateboarding on it. And I'm like, how would you rate this skate? and this skate park for like usability, and he said it was absolutely horrible.
No.
Like, so the rank, the changes, and whoever built it was clearly not a skater, or anyway. Again, that was just one person, so I could
Well, and again, it's never been maintained
be, right.
Mhm.
because every few years, right, Joe? It's supposed to be resurfaced, and that's never happened from the original build and stuff. So the Friends is asking, please, it does need revitalization. Will you come in with us to help lobby and use whatever extent you can for helping with funding and stuff.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I think we'd have to discuss it a bit more to make
Yes,
sure it
please.
fits our mission, but
Yeah.
yeah, we can do that, yeah. we'll note
it
it down.
certainly would revitalize. And
Oh, yeah.
They're key.
Yeah.
And what else did I did the plug for the new members for the Friends of the City Park. Was there one other thing? Oh, no, that's pretty much it. I'll let it
Okay.
go.
What about the River Park group?
The
Park
Riverfront group, the next meeting is,
That's the one I'm here.
okay, that is on Thursday at 3 o'clock here.
Okay.
And then I'll put a plug in for the dog park meeting is September 10th, which is a Tuesday at 1:15 at City Hall.
Okay.
And we're hoping that
Where's the dog park?
the one we're working on is going to be all the way down Jefferson, by the high school and the ballpark and all that. It's way down there.
Just past the softball.
Yes, thank you. And so we're hoping that now that Public Works is pretty much kind of done with the South Park one, that they can then now put up the fence, because then they can start putting down a little bit of grass, and we're gonna go, then we're gonna just open, because, we got a bench, we got a few other things.
That's exciting.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
That was surveyed, right? Like that people really wanted dog.
Yes.
And it's like on 2 sections, right?
right.
Is there one on the west side?
Well, the hope is, again, that we're at the city park,
Yeah.
that where the old horseshoe is, that'll be expanded out, and that would become a smaller dog park for those.
Okay.
And then, of course, the third dog park would be at the South Park
Okay.
pond area.
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people have dogs in Sheridan.
Well, especially when you're out there and it's going to be such a nice location.
She knows.
Yes.
A nice location that, sure, you're going to bring your dog with you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen them all.
Yeah, well, this one didn't want to get vaccinated.
Not only that, but
I was
the,
gonna say, yeah.
at the park, you already have the fence in place. The fence was a big concern for the city because it cost a lot of money to put the fence. Well, in this case, because it was a horseshoe pit, you already have the fence there.
Yeah.
So that's a huge bonus
Oh.
right there.
Yeah.
All you just put a gate on there and just put ordinances on code for dogs.
Yeah.
That's it.
But it needs to be enlarged.
Yeah,
Well, a
we
little
want,
bit,
yeah.
but you can still use the poles and things like that. Just less material to buy.
But we did decide, because we originally wanted a 6-foot chain link fence. It was way above our budget, even, so we lowered it to 4. Then we could actually, was in the
That's
budget.
great, and that's all you need.
That, yes, truly, the owner is supposed to be there keeping an eye
Yeah,
on
yeah,
our
right.
doggy, so,
Right.
okay,
They
nothing.
really are.
That's awesome. Thank you, Kay. You did
Yeah.
great work.
That's great.
I had a question before it's over.
Yeah, I have one more thing too.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go, no, you go. You go.
Well, the Heider building, I know that it was discussed in the past that because the people before altered the front, it wasn't eligible, according to my memory, that wasn't eligible for certain grants. But if a new owner shows up and decides to, we're going to fix this and put it back the way it was, would that owner be eligible for?
Well, it's
That grant?
the grant that we're talking about regarding what was the grant that's attached to it right now. But the way that grant is worked, it's for large portions of, including the HVAC, which is, if they're going to invest that amount of money, they will have that amount of money. They will be able to turn the receipts and all of that for it. So,
They
Meaning-
theoretically already qualified for it, but, right? Or some of the work that they already did, but they decided, they
Yes.
didn't take any of the money.
the owner didn't take any, well, because it also because we
You never
It
finished.
was never
Benchmarks
finished,
weren't
and yeah, there was like
Other requirements.
benchmarks that were not met.
Yeah, okay.
But even though that happened, the 200,000 is still available because there's the amount of work that can be done would be worth $200,000.
But then would the facade have to be historically accurate? Like, is there,
No.
like, it's not specifically connected to the facade
Okay.
at this point.
At this point, they would just have to remove that portion of the grant saying you can get reimbursed for that work, which was a lot of work, but because there's still a lot of work left to be
There's so
done.
much other work.
And there's all the paperwork and the receipts from the roof, you know, the HVAC roof and other stuff would still qualify. So they still most likely could get the full $200,000. They just have to, that's why we were trying to like get the promotion out as much as possible so we could
When does
attract
it
Yeah,
the
it
expire?
started, it's just, yeah, it's just time limit.
April.
End of April.
end of April. Yeah. Okay. Is that it?
Oh, yeah,
Okay, cool.
definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So Liz brought up a point after she watched her last meeting that the way we were speaking about the yards that didn't look great that had applied was not appropriate. And I do agree that was not good. So I do think that what we need to do is have some guidelines for how we're going to be doing the yard of the month, including how we determine what the winners are and the fact that anyone that's submitted, you know, we're going to have good manners about it. And that I do think, like, I think we were rather, I mean, nothing bad about starting this. I think Dorothea did a great job, but if we're going to be carrying forward with, I think it's a great idea to carry forward. Let's create some guidelines for that, including how we pick the winners. Because I think we were just like, oh, great, yeah, did that look good? Great. But it wasn't really like, okay, did we all, let's take a photo, text it to everyone. Does that look good? Are we voting on it? Great. Okay, good. Like, I think the board needs to vote on it, and it needs to be majority, and then let's just establish some guidelines. And then the top one being anyone that's submitted, we're not going to talk derogatorily about their yard no matter what.
And we still need to get gift certificates for the winners. That has not been done yet for the first two.
Really?
Dorothea wanted me to get that done at the Mercantile, but unfortunately, the only day I'm in town is Mondays, and that's the day they're closed. Otherwise, I'm usually working, so I have not gotten that done. So
Okay, so that is do we have the names to make sure that we do?
Ashley knows who they are. You know the two winners.
There's only been
Sure.
Yeah,
Oh, there's
there's
been
been
two.
two.
I don't know, but it's something you know. I gotta
Yeah.
I have
Okay.
records of everything.
Okay,
So
good.
you could
Great.
get,
I
So we
could
just-
figure it out.
We just need to make sure that we get,
gift
yeah, we
certificates to
should
get that.
probably put that as a priority.
So I had one thing. So would this committee like me to get a price for a power washing the main drag up there? Just so we have an idea.
What's
what-
the main drag? This one?
I'm talking,
Main
no, I'm
Street.
talking about,
Main Street.
yeah, Main
What
Street.
would we like to, sorry, I missed
Get a
the,
price.
Get a price so
Oh.
that we could,
I already requested one, but I think, yes, you should also get a price.
from like a power washing person?
yeah.
Oh,
And
sure.
so you already,
No,
Maybe-
get another one.
Maybe
Just
I
mess.
would, you know what I would love is also if maybe you could call McMinnville, like the city of McMinnville, and say, hey, do you guys do power washing in downtown, and who do you use?
Sure.
Is it the businesses that are responsible for it, or is it the city? And who do you use? Because if the one of the persons that made a comment is make sure if you use professional that they have full insurance coverage
Oh,
for
and
any
they're
damage
licensed
that
and
they,
yeah. They
yeah.
would have to have a million
Yeah.
dollars of liability.
yeah.
And the other one is, should I go ahead and see about getting a structural engineer so that we could,
I think we should
Get a
start a
grant.
conversation with a structural
well,
engineer.
I'm just thinking if, well, yeah, we can do that, but if we could, and maybe they won't even do it, but I could say, this is what I need, what do you think it would cost? And maybe they would want to come out and look at the building, and at least we
Yeah, I
have-
think we'd at least start the conversation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because then
Heidi
we
might
can
also have some ideas too.
Yeah, I'll talk to Heidi about it too,
Yeah.
and then we could maybe get a grant for that, and if we could get the power washing done, we don't have to pay for it, we get a grant.
Yeah.
And if we can get that structural engineer here, which then we might also be able to use that one for Willamina.
Yeah.
Then that would, and we don't have to pay for that either by getting the grant.
Yeah.
Maybe $25,000, that, who knows, maybe it's not that much,
Yeah.
maybe it is that much.
Yeah. And then did you note down action items to get with Lucy, that we should get with Lucy about the sign, get an update from her about what we were talking about on the sign?
That would be up here.
I think I entirely forgot to mention it to Heidi.
The directional signs?
Yeah.
Because we have, I have our notes from,
What do you want, just the costs?
No, I think it was, the cost was gonna be the same. It was
Right.
just
this is what
if there was any, I don't know, I had some attention on, let's just make sure that we're not, because it's, I don't
It was
Because
the
it's
crossing-
near
It was the
the
crossing.
thing
It's the
and.
crossing.
It's the
Yeah.
crossing.
So we were gonna do it on 2 different buildings as opposed to just doing
Yeah,
one. building.
yeah, which, yeah, I like that idea, yeah.
The catacomb ones.
Right, so that you're not blocking.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's, I haven't written down what we had decided back whenever this meeting was, back in February.
I think it's fine.
Did the meeting in February on that one?
That one,
We
when we talked about this.
Oh,
one, we
We
that
talked
talked about that one, we also talked about the other one,
Oh.
the future. We did this
I
one,
must have-
and then we were talking about the future, so.
Yeah, that's really cool. Okay,
It's in,
great,
it's in writing.
good stuff. Okay.
And we got a video.
And we have video,
I
yeah.
have one last thing. TK knows, but nobody else knows. Tonight is my last meeting. I need to take a break from volunteering. I have been volunteering in this town since we moved here 15 years ago, so I'm taking a step back.
Well, we
It's-
greatly appreciate all of
Yeah.
your work.
Yeah, it's been great, but yeah, I just need to take a break from
Take a break.
volunteering
I
for a
do
while.
understand
I'll
that.
be back at some point in some iteration on some committee, but I just need to take some much needed not volunteering time.
I understand.
I mean, I'll help out at like, with the cleanups and whatnot, but
Right.
yes.
We have to find a new
Have to
treasurer.
find a new treasurer.
Yeah, yeah, so
And
if
I'm
anyone,
willing to give make a copy of the QuickBooks file and pass it off to whomever.
is there anything that we need to like be keeping track of urgently on that?
No,
Okay.
as far as the IRS goes, we fly under the radar. That's all we have to do is, anybody can file a 990N, and was what needs to be filed.
We
on the other-
legally fly under the radar.
Oh, yes, legal, no, the filing requirement for a federal nonprofit tax return is gross receipts of $50,000. So we're not in that ballpark.
We don't. Yeah.
So until gross receipts are over $50,000, you just file the 990N, and then there's the CT12 that gets filed with the state of Oregon every year. And you attach a copy of that 990N.
Would you mind like writing just like an email was kind of like the base of that, we can.
Basics.
Yeah, well, the CT12 will be, it's on paper and it comes in the mailbox, and the mailbox key is in here,
Okay,
so.
okay.
Yes,
Well,
that's-
So we
The
need
the
to,
2 checkbooks are, the money's all in the bank, but yes, the checkbooks are here.
so we need to recruit for a treasurer.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
but thank you.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you
Okay.
very
Yeah,
much.
and again, if the next person wants to use.
You only brought cookies for your retirement.
It's quite all
We would
right.
have known they would have a cake.
Or at least some cupcakes.
Yeah, there's a cookie.
I didn't want to make a big deal about it, but
And we had a very small meeting, we have to talk about it. That's great.
works for me. Works for me.
So how long have you been with revitalization now?
Since the beginning.
Yeah, since the beginning, so it's
Since
what?
day one. 6 years, 7 years?
Yes.
So yeah, I've always volunteered with scouts and boosters, and I was on the school board, and so yeah, I just decided after 15 years or 16 years, however long I've had practice, that I'm just ready for a break.
Okay, well,
You still working?
Yeah, yeah, that's the other thing, I have a job and a half, so
Mhm.
I have my real job and then I have the clinic job, so yeah, there's that on top of it, yes.
okay, well, we will miss you, but yeah, I will, you're on our email list, so you'll still get
Yeah.
everything and
Yeah.
you can jump in whenever you want to jump in on anything.
Yeah, and like I said, I'll certainly come.
And we just need to get a replacement.
Yeah.
So we'll look for a replacement.
Yeah,
I'll post online and send an email.
Yeah.
will
Sweet.
do. Okay, guys, anything else?
Okay.
Are we good to go? Okay.
Boom.
Survive the heat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll cool down this weekend.
What are you thinking as far as up there, power washing? From where to where?
I mean, I would get a